Did you hear that a spirit enters Beyonce the moment she goes on stage? Oh my god, did you see Oprah doing the sign of the devil? No way. Did you see Lil Nas X video where he was actually pretending to be the devil? And oh my god, all these people are worshiping the devil. Oh my god, I'm not going to listen to music anymore. I've been seeing a lot of these conversations about how celebrities have sold their souls to the devil. And what I find the most fascinating about this conversation, it's the fact that it's targeted at a lot of black celebrities, and it's black people that are saying these things about black celebrities. And this is something that cuts across the black populations, whether it's in diaspora or in Africa. In Africa, what you're constantly hearing is people alluding that the success of someone is thanks to the Illuminati. And these sentiments are very much concerning, because the underlying meaning here is that you as a black person is not capable of achieving success. And if you're able to achieve a lot of success that a lot of people have not been able to achieve before, the only explanation that a lot of people seem to have is that you must be worshipping the devil. There's a part of me that really doesn't care whether the celebrities are selling their souls to the devil, because majority of the people in the society that we live in are constantly selling their souls. When you work a job that you don't like just because you want the paycheck and it's sucking the soul out of you, you've also sold your soul. When you get into relationships, have children, get married to people that treat you in the worst ways just because you want the title of a mother, of a wife, of a father, of a husband, that is also selling your soul. When you continuously elect bad leaders that are bad for you, you're also selling your soul. When you continuously buy from and support companies that use child labor, that is you selling your soul. It's really very clear that the problem is not that people are selling their souls. The problem here is that black people are very successful when you do not think that these black people are deserving of this success. And that's what I want to focus on in this video, because where does this mentality come from? The first explanation is, of course, internalized racism. We're living in a world today where colonization is so successful, not just because of the efforts of the colonizers, but because a lot of the people who are colonized have become their own colonizers. Majority of black populations have internalized colonization so much that they're the ones telling black people what they should do, what they shouldn't do, because they happen to be black. It's a mental prison. And I think one of the things that really explain this very well is the crab theory, where if you put a couple of crabs in a bucket and one of them is trying to get out of the bucket, the rest that are at the bottom of the bucket are going to pull down that one crab that is trying to run away. The crab theory is about a toxic mentality where people will prevent others from being successful, even if it doesn't have any effect to them. It is true that a lot of black people have internalized this idea that black people are not intelligent, black people are not capable of doing great things, and that's why majority of black people that break the glass ceilings and they achieve massive success are always being told that they've sold their souls, because the people that look like them cannot understand how you're able to achieve the success when you've constantly been told that you're not intelligent, you're not capable. And the problem with this is that a lot of people prevent themselves from doing things because they've internalized the idea that they're not capable of doing it. This is why I'm always hearing some black people saying, oh, I can't do that because that's not black people stuff. You're not going to learn or even be curious about things because you believe it's not a black people thing. Because even if we talk about oppressive systems, this is not about that. This is about you putting limits on yourself just because you believe that someone that looks like you shouldn't be doing something. It means that even if the systems were corrected, even if you were presented with opportunities, you wouldn't take them because you don't believe that you're worthy of them because of your blackness. And this is what fuels self-hate amongst black populations. This is why you see a lot of people who are black that see their blackness as some sort of a disability. They look at themselves in the mirror and they think that the only thing that is preventing them from achieving whatever they want in their life is their blackness. And I mean, yeah, that might be true to some point, but a lot of other people have been able to succeed because they refuse to believe in these stereotypes that we've always been taught by colonizers. But if you yourself, you're believing that your blackness is going to prevent you from achieving whatever you want, no one can help you. And the worst part of this is that these people project this self-hate that they have towards other people, other black people. They expect other black people to stay in their box and not be ambitious and not do great things because they should also believe that their blackness is a disability, something to prevent them from being great. This also reminds me of this idea that a lot of people have about what it is to be black, and if you don't fit in that mold, and this happens across all black populations, then you are ostracized. You're always being told, oh, you are not black enough, you don't act like a black person, you are trying to be like a white person. And I always find it so interesting when people say this, because the people that actually want to be white are the people who see their blackness as a disability, and they're very jealous of the people who are confident in who they are, who don't think that their blackness is going to hold them back from what they want to achieve in life. And so they try to tell you are trying to be white as a way to humble you, as a way to remind you that you are just going to be black, you will never be white, as if that's an insult to someone who is confident in their blackness. They will constantly throw jabs at your accent, at the way you are living, and that's why you're constantly saying, even for the most successful black people, the people that are their worst critics or their haters happen to be people that look just like them. And this is why, for me personally, I decided to éloigner myself, to really take myself back from activism, when I realized that a lot of people that look like me do not even want freedom. They just want to have the power to oppress other people. A lot of people do not believe in equality. They just don't want to be the ones that are being oppressed. They want to have the power to cause inequality in society. And you really can't help such people, because at the end of the day, they don't even want better for themselves. And isn't it fascinating that when people talk about these celebrities worshipping the devil, what they are referring to is a lot of African traditional religious practices? It really begs the question, do you think your ancestors are the devil? There's also the fact that a lot of these successful black people are a reminder to a lot of other black people that maybe you're just not putting in as much effort as you should. Especially when it comes to a lot of African countries, I really don't understand the complaints that people always have about, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, because it's actually different for black Americans. We know the systems are very much poised to keep them at the bottom from the start. But in a lot of African countries, as much as yes, we have gone through colonization, African people are constantly voting for corrupt leaders. It's just gotten to a point where, can we just stop blaming colonization for a second and just look at ourselves? Because you cannot be saying that the system is poised to be against you from the start when you're the one that continuously votes for these bad leaders. You know they are bad, but you keep on putting them in just because you share a tribe. It's so interesting how people would do these things and then they will turn around and not expect to face the consequences of putting in these bad leaders that have shown clearly that they don't care. At this point, even God cannot help you. God has given you a brain to use, but you're not even using that brain. And then you want to turn around and blame colonization for what? Perhaps for your mental slavery, but you're the one that's choosing to be brainwashed, because even when you are provided with knowledge, with history, you refuse to learn, you refuse to make different choices. And that's why it's easy for you to look at the black people, the African people that have gone through the same experiences as you. They come from similar backgrounds as you. You're seeing them succeeding, and that is reminding you that you could do better. But instead of focusing on doing the better, it's easy for you to say that they have sold their souls to the devil, so that you don't have to do the work, so that you don't have to hold yourself accountable and ask yourself, what role am I playing in creating this oppressive systems? This narrative also brings out the fact that a lot of people have this entitlement. They think that, oh, they just need to exist and everything is going to be fine. They don't need to put in a lot of effort. Because of this, they're very jealous of the people who have already made it. They feel like, oh, these people, they don't even deserve this success that they have. I am better than them. Why are they living this life that I want? Another thing that makes a lot of people believe that successful black people worship the devil is because of religious brainwashing. And black people across the world are some of the most religious people. One of the things that is constantly taught, especially in Christianity, is that the more you suffer on earth, the wider the gates of heaven are going to be for you. This subconsciously teaches people that success is not a good thing. I'm always hearing a lot of religious people talking about how it is hard for a wealthy man to go through the eye of a needle. So there's a lot of demonization around money, around wealth. So why would people want to be successful? If you've been taught that the richer you become, the wealthier you become, the more successful you've become, because, well, the society we live in is capitalistic and success always means, you know, having money. If you've been told that that is going to close the doors of heaven for you, why would you want to be successful, you know? One of the things that could be leading a lot of Africans to vote in corrupt and bad leaders is because subconsciously they know these leaders are going to keep them poor, they're going to keep them suffering, and that is what they need in order to go into heaven. A lot of people don't understand the power of the subconscious mind. There's a reason why something like religion is very influential. It's because it has seeped into people's subconscious. It is always leading with fear. People have a visceral fear for hell. And if being successful means that you're going to go to hell, my goodness, you would rather be poor. And that means that anyone you see that is successful, they must be the child of the devil. Why is it that a lot of musicians and artists are always using religion, God versus the devil in their art? For someone like me who has studied communication, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in marketing and communication. I clearly am very media literate, and I can look at these works objectively. Most of them are artistic expressions. Most of them use religion as symbolism. But of course, we're talking about a majority of our population that is not very media literate. And the status quo actually wants it that way, because if people were more literate, then they wouldn't be easily manipulated. And it's actually very clear that the reason why we're continuously seeing a lot of religious imagery being used in art is because religion has a huge influence in our lives. Religion influences, whether it's the good or bad things in our societies, it influences our systems. So how can religion not be a huge part of a lot of creative and artistic expression when at the end of the day, art is a mirror of society? And this major sentiment that a lot of people have about, oh, there are demons in music videos and all that, is because religion has demonized the devil. A lot of people approach anything about religion with fear, not wanting to understand anything, not wanting to question anything. They're just fearful because they're fearful of hell. So obviously when they see something that looks like the devil, instead of asking themselves, what is the purpose of this? What is the message of this video? What is the underlying meaning of this? They're just like, oh my God, if I watch this, I'm gonna go to hell. Isn't it interesting? Because if you look at our own lives and you look very closely at it, whatever information you might have in your head about how the devil looks like, if you look at the imagery that's always being sold about the devil in religion, in churches, that image could perfectly fit your mother, your father, your child, your teacher, your pastor, or even yourself. So maybe the problem really isn't that there are people who are selling their souls to the devil, but it's that a lot of people are afraid of holding themselves accountable for how they're contributing to the evils and the oppressive systems that we have. Because once you start doing that, you realize that you might be the devil. It's easy to say that they've sold their souls to the devil because you don't have to do the introspection, you don't have to put in any effort, because you're the good child, you're the child of God. You're not contributing anything to humanity, you're not challenging the status quo, you're not ruffling the feathers, because you are the obedient child. The gates of heaven are just waiting for you. But isn't your silence also a way of you selling your soul?